Hi there, it's Rachel Thexton with Rachel Thexton Connects. I'm doing a Rachel Thexton Gets Personal or Rachel Gets Personal monologue today from Southwest Florida. I'm in an alternative setting today, as you can see visually, and it's beautiful in Fort Myers. We're here for 3 weeks. Part of that time is spent working, and the other part having some time off with my family. So we're really enjoying it so far. There's a few things that I wanted to talk about today in this short monologue at the end of 2024. Uh, the first one is just something that I noticed today, actually. We were enjoying time as a family. We went mini golfing, which is something I loved to do as a kid. We came to Florida. I came to Florida as a little girl a lot, but it would be a very different experience than what my kids are experiencing today. So we would drive from Ontario. My poppy, my grandfather, would drive, and he never wanted to stop. So it'd be the full ride from Ontario all the way down to Florida. So it's, 25, 26 hours depending on where in Florida we were going. And then we would stop somewhere, and we had a camper in the back. So we would stop at a campground, or, you know, even Disney had a Disney campground, and that was amazing. The second that we hit the state line of Florida, we would put our shorts on. We would gawk at the palm trees and think that we were in paradise and watch for salamanders and armadillos. And it was just a dream come true for me as a child. I just absolutely went crazy for it. And, here we are now in this beautiful community. We rented a VRBO. We did get a great deal on it since my remote work and my husband's remote work allow us to work away from Vancouver the odd time, which we did this month. So we left a little bit earlier in the month, saving us on flights and accommodation. But we are in a VRBO with a pool. And when I was mini golfing with my kids, they'd never been. They've done a lot of things. Mini golf is not one of them. And they were getting frustrated. And we were at this really nice mini golf place. And I was just really acknowledging how different my childhood was from what theirs is. And, my kids have a lot of advantages, good advantages when it comes to, things I didn't have as a child. And I don't mean material things, but, just a little bit more stability in the home and things like that. But, there is something to be said for growing up under more humble circumstances. I think I really did. I know that I learned the value of working really hard for what you want in life. And my husband and I have had a lot of discussions on this trip as to how we make some changes so that our kids grow up to be hardworking, humble human beings. Sometimes we try to overcompensate, I think, for what we didn't have. And we go too far, I think, as parents sometimes. I don't mean us, my husband and I, although we do, but I mean us in general. We overcompensate for what we didn't have as kids. And that can be really good to some degree, but sometimes I think we take it too far. I think my husband and I have recognized we've done that. And so we have to kind of, switch gears a little bit. And my kids are kind and loving and wonderful humans, but there are some areas for improvement, and those are areas that we recognized today and over the past few days. My trips to Florida, when I was a little girl and we drive down, I always used to get one of these disposable cameras, and I don't know, 28 or 26 pictures on it, and that was for the trip, and I'd save up for a long time for this camera. And one time I think I even got an underwater camera that you could use in the pool and at the beach, which was really exciting. And 5 out of your 27 pictures come out blurry, and that's just the way that goes, but you still be so excited. So my husband gifted me this right when we got here, and so I've taken about 10, just under 10 photos because I don't want to use it all. But it's so much fun, and my kids are looking at it like, how does this work? And so when do we see the photos? Anyway, so that's kind of neat. We have been enjoying Florida. The community here is exactly that. One thing I've noticed about I know it's different state by state and community by community, but I definitely notice a trend in the United States. There is a lot more community and connection, a lot less isolation. We've been here for only days, and the neighbors, we've met several of our neighbors. One of our neighbors here brought over a bag of sand toys for the kids to use. We went to the beach, so we didn't have to purchase those while we're staying here. And just little things, you say hi to people, you wave at people when you drive by them in your community. People's mailboxes are decorated, and it's just a real community feel. So it's interesting. And people did ask us before we came to Florida this year, especially after Trump's win, how the political climate would be and how we would feel being here. We haven't noticed a difference. As many of you know, we are a biracial family. My husband is a man of color. And so I wondered about that too. And again, we haven't noticed anything at all. People have been extremely friendly to both my husband and myself, going out of their way to be helpful and kind. So that has been our experience of Southwest Florida to date. And we've been here one other time and had a similar experience and loved it. So we have thought about saving up to invest in a small piece of real estate here in Florida, rent it out the majority of the year, and use it for vacation, and then hopefully one day use it more. We've recognized that as a family of five, three children and two adults, it's unlikely that we'll be buying real estate in the near future in Vancouver. Vancouver will always be my primary home, but we will probably be renters and invest in real estate elsewhere. That's just a reality that we've come to as a family, given our circumstances, our needs, the size of our family, all of those things. But obviously, if you're able to purchase in Vancouver, it's never going to be a bad decision or a bad investment, poor investment. Yeah, the beach is here. Amazing. So beautiful. I think get more excitement out of this than anyone. But my kids kind of are excitement can be contagious, I've realized. So, as I get excited about finding shells on the beach, then my kids do too. And we've been finding these amazing shells that I don't ever remember seeing when I was a little girl. So, the beaches and the area are recovering from the past hurricanes. I know it really hurt the state, and we've heard some about that. We've noticed areas in which they're still in the process of cleaning up debris. A lot of the environment, trees taken right out of the roots. It really, I know, affected the economy here and people in their, jobs, employment, well-being. So kudos to the community here. They just come together and just rebuild when storms like that happen. And I wonder what would happen in Vancouver if we face that kind of environmental catastrophe in which we have no control over. Anyway, these beautiful beaches and shells, and it's only been a matter of months, and they've cleaned up these beaches, and they're stunning. It's amazing. As I've been here, also been enjoying. We're a Christian family, as I've mentioned before. That being said, I have absolutely no judgment around anyone's choice of faith. I think everyone has to take their own path, and the most important thing is having, a true, loving, kind heart. But one thing that I have really enjoyed is being able to kind of see a lot more Christian learning options here. So there's a large Christian bookstore here that we went to, and I picked up this book. I got a lot of response from this when I posted it online on Instagram. Lee Strobel, Is God Real? I just started reading it, and really, really good book. I guess a lot of you have read another one of his books called The Case for Christ, which I really want to read. Lee Strobel, the author of this book, is a journalist. He's a journalist at the Chicago Tribune and also has a master's in law. So he's very much an analytical, fact-oriented individual and professional, and was an atheist. So really went through the process of doing his own research and making a decision either way for himself. So I've just started the book, but some of the data is pretty startling. Talking about how this is the first Generation Z, I think it is, those starting to be born in 1999 are the post-Christian generation. But in fact, that is the generation that has the highest rates of depression, anxiety. Some of those rates even more startling than that regarding those who have made suicide plans. So I don't think this has anything to do with, whether or not you're a Christian or not, but just having a faith and a spiritual focus and knowing that you have a purpose. And I think that is something that it really is a core part of a person that allows them to navigate their way through really challenging times, such as COVID, isolation, poor economy, how things are going for international students in Canada currently, which is really, really tough. I can only imagine. And so, yeah, being able to read about this, and I still have a lot of questions myself about Christianity. I grew up in a Christian home. My grandfather was a preacher, so I went to church a lot and went to a lot of church camps. Kind of walked away from my faith for a long time and returned to it with fresh eyes. And so I've been kind of learning and reading a lot while here about that. And this kind of book is interesting because it's, the facts and how does someone who is or was an atheist look at things versus, as they navigate their journey, how they see things. I just wanted to, I'm so grateful for everyone who listens, watches the podcast. My last episode with Kahani Pictures founder, Inder Nirwan. Fantastic discussion. His work is just so incredibly impactful. The way that he tells stories. One thing that I really appreciated, I was looking through the website at the films, and anytime I saw a film that involved Canadian environment or land or animals, there was always the perspective of Indigenous nation that was in that area. And I thought that was really amazing because that's often missing. And it wasn't someone else speaking on behalf of the Indigenous nation. It was the Indigenous leaders speaking on behalf of their stories and their perspective. So kudos to Kahani Pictures for really ensuring that they incorporate the Indigenous perspective into those stories because they are so vital. And those discussions and that discussion, I really, really enjoyed. We have some great discussions planned for the podcast for 2025. I look forward to sharing them with you. And we're blessed to be able to spend the time that we do here. I'm trying really, really hard to take time away from work and to not have that burnout, to have the balance, to take better care of myself. I'm not so great at that. I'm a bit of a micromanager. I'm proud of what I've built over the years with my business, and I'm proud of the hard work that I do, but I do recognize that sometimes I need a break. And that's something that has taken me a long time to learn how to do. So here I am doing that part-time, but I appreciate each and every one of you for listening, and I hope to have more underrepresented voices in 2025. And by that, I mean, everyday folks who have amazing things to share, who do impactful work, who have stories to tell, who have issues to share, perspectives on or advocate for. So please be in touch with me if you have ideas. I have a few, but I'd love to hear more ideas for the podcast in the new year. Thank you so much. Signing off now from Southwestern Florida, and wishing you health and peace, love, and purpose over the holidays and into the new year. And I have so many things to be grateful for, including this podcast and this podcast community. So be kind and truly connect. You are listening to Rachel Thaxton Connects. And this is Rachel Gets Personal. Thank you so much. Happy holidays.